Okay, so this is video number 2, stage 2 reading. Hang on a second. Okay, I have no clue what I was just saying, so I'm going to start at the beginning. Stage 2 is all about the reading. So you will then participate in a shared reading, which is on page 164. So turn in your book to 164. After shared reading, there's guided reading, then there's independent reading, buddy reading, reading aloud to students. Shared reading, I think I've put a video on for you before, so I'm not going to do that again. Guided reading, I've shown you a video how that's done. Independent reading, you've seen that in the videos in the past, so I don't have to show you that again. Buddy reading is something that I don't have a video for you. It was sort of done in a previous video, so I'll just tell you how buddy reading works. Normally it's kids about the same age and they sit down together and they read. If the classroom doesn't do buddy reading like that, then generally what buddy reading is an older student reading to a younger student. So it'd be like grade 3 reading to grade 1 maybe, or it could be kindergarten even, or it could be like grade 6 reading to grade 4 or something like that. So that way they get experience reading out loud. Whether their reading level is high or low, it doesn't really matter. The buddy reading program is a success for the majority of the time because kids really get a kick out of it. They feel empowered when they're able to read in front of other students who maybe not read as well. So that's in a nutshell what the buddy reading program is. Reading aloud to students is the last one, and you'll find that on page 166. So what I want you to do is go through each of these and just find them in your textbook. These are all, I think, blue-headed words, so just look for the blue. It's kind of like a bluish purple color. Just find these words and then write a brief definition of what they are. If you've never done guided reading before, there's a step-by-step on page 166. There are also videos throughout your book. And if you want to see what guided reading looks like, there's an eye here and it says watch guided reading. Now, I personally haven't seen that video, but I'm guessing it's probably appropriate for our course. So if you have the breakthrough to an affordable digital experience, the Pearson eText, I think the links are in there. I've never opened mine, and I've tried to watch these videos outside of the textbook, but they won't let me because I think I have to open that, and once I use it, 180 days is, then I get to use it one term and then I don't get to use it the next. So that's why I've never done it. But there's that video on guided reading there. There's also engaging in reading back on 164. And there's also, I'm not done yet, exploring literacy through read alouds on page 166. And there's more videos. On page 171, there's teaching phonics. And I missed one on page 169, grand conversations. So those are videos you might want to check out. I don't know if they're any good. As I said, I've never watched them. But if this area is unfamiliar to you about reading, then it might be something that might be worth your time watching. And since there's no class on Friday, you've got all day. Possibly, I don't know. I don't know your schedule. Anyway, you're probably not even listening to this on Friday, so I don't know when you're listening to this. Anyway, just go through those, take notes on each of those sections. On page 165, as I was saying before, no, 166. 166 is where you'll find the step-by-step for how to do a guided reading. There's 6 steps to it. There's choosing a book, introducing it, observing students as they go through it, giving them assistance when they need it, and then talk about the selection, and then the last one is teach them a little mini lesson on something. Anyway, the steps are in your book, so if you go through it, then you can probably get a good understanding. If not, go back to the video on how to do guided reading. I think it was like 2, possibly 3 classes ago I had that video up. Independent reading, you're probably all familiar with this. This is when the student is reading all on their own. You'll find this on page 165 of your textbook. So go back. At least I have to. This is an important part of reading or language arts instruction because it is the most authentic type of reading. Students are empowered when they can do this by themselves. This is a type of reading that most people do. You do it your entire life once you learn how to read. And this is the way students develop a love of reading and come to think of themselves as readers. My daughter is just learning how to read, and this is very important to her. My son is in grade 3, and this is very important to him. So as students get older, it becomes a more valued thing to be able to do. And every student needs to be able to do this skill, in my opinion. Anyway, buddy reading is talked about on page 165. I've already given you the Coles Notes version of it. So students read or reread a selection with another student. So they could be the same age, could be in the same class. Sometimes students read with buddies because it's an enjoyable experience. Sometimes they read together to help each other. They can read selections together that neither one could read individually. And older students act as tutors to younger students. So that would be the other example of what buddy reading is. So like I often would do buddy reading when I had my grade 5 class. I would have like grade 3s come in, or we'd go over there, and then we'd read to each other, and kids loved it. Anyway, I found this activity on Pinterest. I know we're talking about reading, but I thought this goes nice with this topic. This is called Writing Buddies. It's essentially the same thing, just the opposite. One's reading, one's writing. They go hand in hand. And I'm talking really fast because I don't have a lot of time. So, compliments is the first one. So when you write something, have your partner look at it. And then what they have to do is they have to do 2 parts. So I really like the way you, and whatever it is that you liked, or I enjoyed reading the part when. So it's kind of like this 2 stars and a wish, but it's a little bit more complicated. And then it gives suggestions as the next part of this reading buddy activity. How do you feel about adding and then whatever it is? Maybe we can come up with a better way to whatever it might be. And then corrections. This is a good time to correct. So spelling, sentence organization, grammar, missing words, capitalization, punctuation, things of that nature. Advantages and drawbacks of the 5 types of reading. So turn the page to page 168. And on this page there's a grand conversation. Well, the next page over. Page figure 160 has figure 5-2 on it. This has the advantages and drawbacks of the 5 types of reading. So in the first column there's the type of reading. So you got shared, guided, independent, buddy, and reading aloud. Then in the next column you have the advantages of that type, and then in the next column you have the disadvantages. And I just want you to go through it and see the pros and the cons of each type. You got a minute and a half. Responding. Yeah, responding is the next one. So writing and reading response logs or journals. So we're going to write a journal about this topic. There's participation in grand conversation and literature circle. You can do journals a couple different ways. So read page 167. My timer's gonna go. Anyway, I'm just gonna hit pause. Oh, I'm laughing to myself now. I'm probably gonna get cut off, but journals. There's